No, well, my childhood actually was absolutely a regular childhood. Like, I believe it is everywhere else in the world because when you're a child, you see the things that are very close to you. You probably don't look too much at the city. You look at your playground. You look at, I don't know, your friends in the kindergarten or whatever, and your perspective changes maybe a little later when you realize there's maybe strange things. There's a wall that you just pass by in a car for minutes and minutes, and you start wondering why there's no gate in the wall or anything. But yeah, basically, you have a normal childhood like everybody else. And then when you actually start thinking about it, this very moment it's over. There is no East and West Berlin. All of a sudden, this wall has fallen, and you start really to reflect what is happening. As you know, what happened when we moved from East to West Germany, which was just going to bed one day and waking up the next day in the very same bed, being a citizen of another country, it's basically the entire life changed. Everything around you changed. Like it seemed overnight that all the East German products were gone from the supermarkets, they were gone from the warehouses. And all of a sudden, everything was brand new, bright Western products that you were confronted with and you could buy. So that changed really quick. That you got used to this standard that comes with it. That is a higher and better living standard. That everything around you is Western products, and it was really weird when you come back to see the old things you surrounded yourself with in the 80s, and you see those old products. There's museums now about it. Can you believe that? There's museums about your childhood.
Let's say three kind of people living here. We have the people who lived in West Berlin, or born here, lived here. We have the people who were born and lived in East Berlin. And we have the people who moved here, especially after the wall fell down. And I do think it's different for all of them. Most, as I said before, changed for the people who lived in the East before. And I cannot imagine what it is like for them, because I think it will be, the wall falling down for them will have such a high symbolic value that we from the West, especially from West Germany, not from Berlin, cannot even imagine what it means. I think that is probably for many of them the most important day of their lives. I know from friends of mine who come from East Berlin. For us from West Germany, it is more a political event. And it opened the door to come here. I would not have moved to West Berlin before the wall came down. I thought it was totally uninteresting a city. Walled in, literally walled in, not much happening, old people, young people moving away. The exact opposition of what it is today. Now young people move here, as I said before, now it's lively. And in a way that we, meaning the Germans and the people coming from other countries, achieved that in Berlin, living together from these different backgrounds in parts where you don't even recognize anymore whether it was East or whether it was West.
Bahnsteig U2 Richtungen Leben und Pankow.
People got sick with it, that the living standards were so low. And they were crazy for all the new apartments that East Germany built in the very, very east of Berlin. They built, I believe, for more than 300,000 people. They built huge tower blocks, and those tower blocks had it all. They had like running warm water, they had central heating, and you could deposit your trash right on the floor you were living. They were very comfortable. So what happened in the 80s was, like from the neighborhoods I grew up, people were moving away. They wanted to go to those tower blocks. They wanted the comfort of this. So they started leaving the inner city, and especially neighborhoods like Pankow or Prenzlauer Berg, that are like the most expensive neighborhoods you can live in now. In the 80s, they became empty.
Of course, we have parts where you can see this was the East. You can still see it, you can still, in a way, even smell it. They used more coal than we did in West Germany, at least. They used different stuff to clean things. You can even smell it. And then there are other places where you just don't know. Go from Neukölln to Friedrichshain, which is now a common district. You don't know where there was East and where there was West. And that's, for young people, for instance, my daughter, who's 24, around there are the most attractive places for them. So all this, of course, would not have happened if the wall didn't come down. So, of course, that's and will forever be the most symbolic event and day in the history of Berlin. Neglecting the Second World War, of course.
This emptiness in the 90s in East Berlin and the availability of cheap apartments that attracted a lot of people that came in. And especially a lot of people from West Germany came in looking for the freedom they, I don't know, never had or lost. The freedom that they had because they did not necessarily have to be commercially successful. They could just live in a neighborhood, they could afford it, and this neighborhood was going crazy. And there was a lot of culture that was not necessarily very expensive. It was easy to create culture and it was easy to consume culture. So that is probably one thing that changed Berlin the most, that it got very, very attractive for people who wanted to create something, whether it was a piece of art, whether it was music, whether it was poetry. They could move here to live their dream without the necessity of having to be successful. And I think this is something that changed Berlin a lot.
It's a memory of the time when I have been a young communist activist, because I have been a dogmatic communist and I supported East Germany and the former Soviet Union. So indeed, I have been to Berlin before unification, but mostly to East Berlin, the capital of the East German socialistic state. And the special memory I have about that, if you want to hear that, you know Bahnhof Friedrichstraße. This is around where I work at the River Spree, close to the political center of Berlin. When I visited the East Berlin politicians at my activist time, you moved there in a tunnel under the station, a special tunnel for VIPs. And where you got out in East Germany, the others had to go through very complicated controls when they want to get there. The others meaning people from West Germany visiting East Germany or East Berlin. It was complicated for them. It took very long and they were searched and all that. We moved through that tunnel and that was it. And when we came out as special VIPs for the East German socialists, where we came out, there's a McDonald's today. So you can imagine how symbolic that is for me.
Schönen guten Tag, einmal die Fahrkarten bitte.
There's a funny saying about it. It's like when an East German is asked, what do you miss most about East Germany? The best answer you can give is the taste of Western chocolate.